Hello, in this installment we're going to look at two-dimensional projectiles. And two-dimensional projectiles really can be broken down into two types: a horizontal projectile and projectiles at an angle. Horizontal projectiles, we can think of them as very commonly coming off a cliff or a table, and they have an initial velocity, and it's horizontally directed. And why it's called horizontal is because it's horizontally directed, but more importantly, it's perpendicular to a normal line to the ground, or the force of gravity. So gravity would pull the body straight down toward the center of the earth, and the velocity vector is perpendicular to that force of gravity and the acceleration that is experienced. So that's what makes something a horizontal projectile. And as you've seen in a previous video by Alan from Harvard, that the time it takes for a projectile that's launched horizontally to hit the ground is the same whether it is dropped, like so. That time it will take to fall will be the same if it is dropped, or if it is fired at some pretty high horizontal velocity. They will hit the ground at the same time. And that would go for every intervening velocity. We have this projectile that's dropped, and then we have a low velocity and a greater velocity and an even greater velocity still. The time it will take to hit the ground will be the same. And that at equal heights will occur at equal times. So after the projectile has fallen for a period of time, it will fall that distance whether it has a horizontal velocity or not. So at equal heights, they will have fallen equal times, which is not an intuitive conclusion at all. And so the ball fired horizontally and dropped hits the ground at the same period of time. The other type of projectile, which we'll deal with in a couple of days, is when a projectile is launched at an angle, when someone throws a football or kicks a soccer ball or shoots a gun or a missile or something like that at an angle to the ground. The central difference is that there is a velocity in the x direction when there is horizontal, and there is no velocity in the vertical direction at time zero. When it's launched at an angle, there is a Vx and a Vz at time zero. And so that's the difference between those two phenomena. In the next video, we'll look in depth at how we treat and solve horizontal projectile problems.